Later, Akane meets with the rest of the cast and announces that she's ready to film the remaining episodes. For her emotional protection, they suggest that she put her acting skill to work and create a character for herself, rather than leaving her true self so vulnerable. But what kind of character? They realize that Aqua is the only guy on the show who's not involved with one of the girls, so they ask him about his type, only for him to abstractly describe I. Somehow, Memcho guesses that he's talking about someone like the deceased idol. Akane takes note and resolves to play the role of Aqua's ideal girl. But Aqua has doubts about whether anyone could ever come close to mimicking what obviously can only come naturally. Akane researches I extensively, even wondering about what her type was. She goes a bit overboard with her research, maybe a little overzealous in her attempt to repay Aqua for his kindness. Meanwhile, Kana asks Aqua about how Akane is doing, and then expresses disappointment that she didn't retire. Apparently, she views her as a rival in the acting space. Aqua's limited experience is strictly as a screen actor, and he was unaware of Akane's superb reputation in theater. Akane returns to the set and formally apologizes to the crew for causing them trouble. When Aqua shows up, she gets his attention immediately by assuming her new character modeled on I. He's stopped in his tracks and turns to witness the newly motivated Akane emulating the full magnitude of her presence to a T. Aqua does not know how to respond to Akane's transformation. It's too good, it's eerie, and whether he likes it or not, it's having an effect. Realizing what's going down, Memcho and Yuki egg him on, but he becomes defensive and walks out. Akane drops the act after seeing Aqua's strong reaction, and the two girls question her about whether she has genuine feelings towards him. She admits that she would date Aqua if he were on board. Aqua is forced to wrestle with the nature of his relationship with I. More than a fan, and more than her son, he's confused and either can't find the words or won't utter them. Later on, Aqua catches up to a despondent Kana on her way to school and asks if she'll skip class with him. She enthusiastically agrees and suggests a number of things they could do, which he rejects and then takes her to a park to play catch. She doesn't hesitate to tell him how weird that is, how weird he is. Kana's not exactly athletic, and she asks him why he didn't ask someone else, like someone from the cast of Love Now. But he dismisses that as work, and those people just colleagues. She pivots to Akane and starts talking about his type. Aqua becomes introspective. His body is finally catching up to the maturity of his mind. He mentions that he's beginning to see girls around his age as potential love interests, with a particular preference for slightly older women, which excites her, being a year older herself. He levels with himself that he doesn't feel anything romantic towards Akane. Anything there is just the shell of a memory. On set, Akane reveals that she imagines that I had a secret child. This makes it easier for her to reconcile her sometimes erratic behavior. Aqua recognizes that she truly is extraordinary. Though sure in his position that their relationship is strictly professional, he decides to not let what's before him go to waste, and he kisses her on camera. Kana is mortified when she sees the episode. Filming of the series is finished. At the wrap party, the other cast members question whether Akane and Aqua will date now that the show is over. The director chimes in, saying that since the contracts are fulfilled, it's now up to the actors to decide how they proceed. Aqua ducks out to talk with the producer, who proposed being on the show in exchange for information about I. Now that Aqua's fulfilled his end of the bargain, the producer suggests getting sushi sometime, and he'll divulge some choice information. Back inside, Akane confronts Aqua about their relationship and how they should move forward. He confesses that they don't have a future romantically, but softens the blow by expressing his admiration for her as an actor. They professionally decide to keep up appearances for a while, for the sake of their careers. Afterwards, Memcho and Aqua walk home together. She reveals that she really wanted to be an idol, which obviously gives Aqua the idea to pitch becoming a member of B Kamachi. She's dismissive of the offer at first, but then realizes that he's serious. At Strawberry Productions, Miyako is surprised that Memcho wants to be an idol and playfully suggests that she should have hired Aqua as a scout. Although Miyako is fine with it, she calls Memcho out for not being completely honest about her age, and everyone is floored when they find out that she's really 25. She explains that while she was in high school, her mother fell ill. Her dreams took a back seat while she worked different jobs to help her family. Ruby and Kana chime in supportively and reassure her that her age doesn't matter. She can become an idol regardless. In class, Ruby and Minami talk about Aqua's kiss and subsequent relationship when Frill shows up and surprises them with her sense of humor. They talk about how all the girls are fawning over Aqua after his role in the show. The Bikamachi channel starts to grow a following, thanks in large part to Memcho onboarding some subscribers from her established audience. She suggests they start practicing old Bikamachi songs to prepare themselves for uploading their own music videos. After a long choreography session, Kana wonders whether she'll be able to keep up with the others. Aqua appears and offers her some water. She initially accepts, but when she can't get his and Akane's kiss out of her head, she tells him off. He says that if she keeps up this hostile attitude of hers, even he'll feel hurt. She does reconsider, but when she looks up and calls after him, he's already gone. Later on, Aqua meets with the producer over sushi, and he warns him about what he's getting into. Fans usually don't like to be disillusioned by facts. Early on, I was tough to work with, lacking professionalism. But after joining the same theater company as Akane, on his recommendation, Ai's attitude changed, apparently because she fell in love, according to him. The producer then offers to put him in touch with the theater company so he can dig up more on his own. Aqua asks him why he's being so accommodating about all this, and the producer explains that doing him a favor now is an investment in collecting on it in the future. He's also noticed the moves Strawberry Productions has been making regarding Bikamachi, and is intrigued. He then reaches out to Memcho with an opportunity to squeeze Bikamachi into the lineup at the upcoming Japan Idol Festival. The girls discuss potentially playing their first gig. Ruby is obviously excited, and Memcho posits that they became idols for this very reason, so Kana agrees despite having reservations. The question of who will be the group's center comes up. Ruby and Memcho try to hide their excitement and desire for the part. They bring up Kana's popular bell pepper exercise from when she was a child, wondering if she'd be a better fit, but she doesn't seem too keen on the part. They decide that whoever gets the highest score at karaoke will become the center. Kana mentions that she doesn't have any reliable fans, suggesting that she's incapable of being the center. Ruby tries to encourage her, saying that she's been too hard on herself lately. She tries to cheer her up by mentioning that even Aqua finds her attractive, but this only backfires. At the karaoke place, Ruby and Memcho both give mediocre performances. They decide to have a crack at Kana's catchy little exercise song and discover that Kana continued to release music after her childhood hit, and they have a listen. They are amazed at how good she is and wonder why she's so hard on herself despite her obvious talent. Memcho and Ruby try to film Kana's reaction to becoming the center. There's only one problem. She never agreed to be the center in the first place. She calls them out for trying to manipulate her into accepting the role, which she ultimately does, so it kinda worked. Miyako informs the girls that she's brought someone on to help with the final push before their show. It's Pieon. He helps the girls get in shape with an aggressive workout regimen and helps plan out their choreography. One night, Pieon sees Kana out on the balcony and asks whether she regrets becoming an idol. She divulges her hesitation about being the center of the group after her failed music career as a child. He tries to quell her worries and admits to being her fan. He even knows specific details about her, which takes her by surprise. She entertains the idea of falling for him and giving up on Aqua altogether. Back inside, Memcho and Ruby remark on how Pieon seems slimmer than they remember. Later on, after finishing up another practice session, Kana complains to Memcho about Aqua. She goes on to reveal how much she admired him when they were young, and Memcho's not quite sure what to make of all this information. It turns out that Aqua has been posing as Pieon the whole time. He watches from the shadows while talking to the real Pieon, who's on vacation. He asks about why Aqua had to disguise himself to support the group, to which Aqua responds that based on her behavior as of late, Kana would have actively rebelled against any advice that came from him. Pieyon expresses his doubts about this, prompting Aqua to admit that he's actually quite feeble. The night before the festival, Ruby is too excited and has trouble falling asleep. Kana is baffled and asks how she could possibly be so optimistic. Ruby reveals that she used to be confined to her room, convinced that she would die without experiencing any thrills or excitement. But that changed when she became an idol otaku, and her first love told her that he would be her fan if she ever became an idol. Telling the story relaxes Ruby, and she does end up falling asleep, and Kana goes for a walk. On her way downstairs, she notices Pieyon's mask on the table. Excited to see what's underneath the mask, she's absolutely floored when she finds out it's been Aqua the whole time. She's now unable to sleep, wondering whether Aqua was being genuine on the balcony. The next day, Miyako and the girls arrive at the festival and head to the dressing room, which turns out to be a giant free-for-all filled with underground idol groups vying for space. Kana is overcome by her past failures and is terrified of bringing down the whole group now that she's the center. Ruby finds her and admits that she's really nervous despite all her excitement the night before. She notices that Kana is in her head and realizes she's just as nervous, if not more. Kana boils over and confesses that her anxiety comes from feeling responsible for her, Memcho, Miyako, everyone involved. When she was on her own, she could handle failure on her own, but if she fails now, she brings the rest of them down with her. Ruby tries to reassure her by saying that amateur idols are pretty much doomed to fail anyway, so they should just go for it and have fun. Hearing this new perspective from Ruby does relieve Kana, and the girls get ready to put on their first show as Bikamachi. The newest iteration of Bikamachi takes the stage, prepared to put on their first show. The turnout isn't too bad, thanks to Memcho's following as a streamer. Each had chosen their own glow stick color, so their fans could show their support for their favorite member. Ruby chose red, Memcho yellow, and Kana white. Kana notices a severe lack of white glow sticks in the crowd, which gets in her head. She reasons that with Memcho's popularity, it's no wonder that the majority would be yellow. But she still laments her perceived failures and struggles after aging out of her child actor popularity. She continues scanning the crowd, silently crying out for someone to notice her, someone to need her. Ruby notices Kana faltering, tries to give her a quick nudge of encouragement, and kicks it up a notch herself to make up for the disparity in energy. The crowd seems to enjoy their first song. Ruby continues to rile them up, while Kana continues to reel. But when their second song gets underway, a lone white glow stick stands outstretched down in front. It's Aqua. Holding both red and yellow ones in his other hand, he starts to dance, kinda ridiculously and completely straight-faced. Ruby almost cracks up, while Kana lights up, completely changing her tune. The group really hits their stride, and even a former fan of the old Bikamachi feels the same vibe that I gave off coming from Ruby, and gets into it. Their first performance is a success. Afterwards, on their way home, Kana asks Aqua what he thought of the show, and he replies that it was fine. Before Kana can fire back, he explains that they have far better performances to come, so there's no point in raving about it just yet. In the front seat, Memcho wonders why they keep going for each other's throats, but Miyako implies that there's something else going on between them, and then asks Aqua about Akane, just to stir things up and show Memcho what she means. He admits that they haven't seen each other since the after-party, and that their relationship is strictly to keep up appearances after their performance on Love Now. Kana goes red and lights up. Memcho finally gets it and starts to worry that a love triangle is forming. Kana approaches Aqua the next day and questions him about impersonating Pieyon. He tells her that since they weren't on speaking terms at the time, he figured it was the best way to help them prepare without the two of them clashing. Kana interprets this as Aqua going out of his way just for her, and becomes even more brazen in her teasing. Ruby sees the two interacting and tells Memcho that Kana brings out the old Aqua, which makes Ruby happy, but Memcho worries that Akane has her work cut out for her. Elsewhere, the producer who gave Aqua info about Ai meets with an event manager who's putting together a stage production based on the widely popular manga Tokyo Blade. It turns out that Akane's theater company is providing some of the cast. So, naturally, if she's playing the lead, Aqua would be a shoo-in for the love interest. The next day, Aqua and Akane go on a date to take pictures for Instagram to maintain their public appearance. They discuss the play, and Akane mentions that Aqua's character has another love interest and wonders who will be cast for that part. She doesn't have to wonder long, however, as Kana drops in on them, having stalked their real-time Instagram posts, and tells them that she's playing the role. Akane is furious that her eternal rival is cast as, well, her rival. After she leaves, Akane fills Aqua in on how she and Kana often competed for the same roles throughout their childhood careers, Kana having won the majority of them. Aqua comments on how he doesn't get why actors are so obsessed with winning. Thinking about what the producer told him about Ai joining a workshop with the same theater company, he can't refuse the opportunity to glean more information and tells Akane he's in.